Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to truly hear me today. I want you to feel this in the depths of your spirit because what I am about to share can change the very trajectory of your life. There is an extraordinary power in silence, a kind of power that most people overlook because the world has conditioned us to believe that speaking, explaining, defending, and justifying is the only way to be seen. But I am here to tell you that sometimes the loudest moves you can make are the ones you don't announce. Sometimes the strongest actions are the ones that happen quietly, behind closed doors, away from prying eyes and critical tongues. I remember a period in my life when I was so exhausted by the constant need to explain myself to everyone around me. I was in meetings, social gatherings, even family dinners, feeling this invisible pressure to justify my choices, to defend my vision, to articulate my purpose to those who could never understand it. I was speaking, persuading, convincing, negotiating, always in motion, always trying to prove myself. And yet, the more I spoke, the more I realized I was losing something invaluable: my energy, my clarity, my peace, my very sense of self. I was giving away pieces of my power with every word. And for what? For validation that would never come. And then one day, I made a conscious choice. I said, enough. I am going to focus on myself. I am going to protect my energy. I am going to nurture my dreams and stand in my purpose without seeking approval. And when I did, something miraculous began to happen. Life itself began to shift around me. People who had been critical suddenly noticed a change, not in me, but in the space I held. Doors that had been shut began to open. Opportunities that I had chased frantically before now came to me effortlessly. Blessings arrived quietly, but powerfully. And I realized something essential: silence is not absence. Silence is power. Silence is presence. I want you to imagine your life as a beautiful, delicate garden. Every thought, every word, every interaction is a seed. When you pour your energy into gossip, fear, or distractions, you water weeds: negativity, comparison, resentment, that choke out your growth. But when you focus on yourself, when you direct your energy into nurturing your mind, your spirit, your vision, and your purpose, your garden begins to flourish in ways that are breathtaking. Flowers of clarity bloom, trees of strength rise, fruits of opportunity appear in abundance. And all of this happens because you chose to speak less, invest more, and trust the process of life. I want you to picture this scenario vividly. You are in a crowded room full of noise. People are arguing, debating, fighting to be heard, demanding explanation, seeking to pull you into their drama. And then you step back, you breathe, you smile softly. You are calm, composed, unmoved by the chaos because your energy is protected. You are aware that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every opinion is yours to entertain. Not every judgment is yours to bear. And as you stand there in your quiet power, something remarkable happens. People start noticing, not because you shouted louder than them, but because your presence, your peace, your focus radiates a kind of authority and confidence that words could never convey. Focusing on yourself is not selfish, it is strategic and sacred. It is a declaration that you understand your value, your purpose, and the calling on your life. It is a decision to no longer give away your energy to things that do not serve your growth. Life begins to honor that choice. Life responds to that intention. People may question your silence, doubt your motives, or misunderstand your path, but stay steadfast. Stay rooted. Keep your eyes on your vision, your hands on your work, and your heart aligned with your purpose. The universe, God, life itself, it sees the work you do in quiet, and it responds in kind. I have seen it countless times. I have watched people transform their careers, their relationships, their health, their entire reality, not by shouting louder, not by defending themselves, but by quietly investing in their growth, trusting their path, and walking in integrity. The shift begins when you stop chasing validation and start cultivating your own excellence. It begins when you choose silence over argument, focus over distraction, and action over explanation. It begins when you protect your energy and embrace the power of your own presence. So I challenge you today: step into your quiet power. Focus on nurturing yourself, your vision, your dreams, and your purpose. Speak less, do more, and watch life transform in ways that will astonish you. The blessings, the opportunities, the growth, they are already aligning for you. You don't need to explain. You don't need to justify. You don't need to defend your journey. Simply focus, stay silent, protect your energy, and watch how life changes in the most extraordinary, magnificent ways imaginable. Think about the last time you allowed the opinions of others to dictate your actions, your mood, or your sense of worth. How many times have you walked into a room carrying the weight of what people might say, what they might think, or how they might judge you? I've been there more times than I care to admit. I can remember sitting in a room full of people, some familiar, some strangers, and feeling this invisible pressure to explain, defend, and justify myself. Every word I spoke felt like it was being pulled from me piece by piece until I realized something life changing. I was giving away my power with every explanation. I was feeding the very chaos I thought I could control. And that's when I understood a profound truth. You cannot grow while you are giving your energy away. You cannot build your dreams, embrace your purpose, or step into your destiny while you are constantly distracted by the noise around you. Life begins to change the moment you shift your focus inward. The moment you say, I will no longer allow outside forces to drain me. I will no longer surrender my energy to what does not align with my purpose. Everything starts to rearrange itself. Opportunities you thought were impossible become visible. People who were indifferent suddenly become allies. Doors you never imagined opening swing wide in ways that feel almost miraculous. I want you to picture this vividly. Imagine your life as a canvas, and every thought, every word, every interaction is a brushstroke. When you constantly justify yourself to others, when you speak to defend your choices, when you explain your path to those who cannot see it, your canvas becomes cluttered, chaotic, and heavy with colors that do not belong. But when you focus on yourself, when you protect your energy, when you embrace silence and intentional living, your canvas transforms. Each stroke becomes bold, deliberate, and powerful. The colors align. The image begins to emerge. And suddenly, what once looked like chaos now becomes a masterpiece, a reflection of your purpose, your strength, and your vision. I've witnessed the magic of this principle over and over again. I have seen individuals step back from endless arguments, from constant social noise, from the relentless pressure to prove themselves, and watch as life itself bends in their favor. When they stopped speaking unnecessarily, when they stopped chasing approval, when they shifted their energy inward, life responded. Opportunities that had been delayed suddenly arrived. Relationships that had been stagnant began to flourish. Even their own sense of confidence and clarity deepened in ways that words could never describe. There is a spiritual dimension to this as well. When you choose silence and focus, you are creating a sacred space for God, for the universe, for divine timing to work in your life. There is an unseen power at work when you step back, when you trust, when you stop forcing outcomes and allow life to align naturally. The more silent you become, the more powerful you are. The less you explain, the more people notice. The less you chase, the more life chases you. It is a law, a principle, and a truth that transcends culture, circumstance, and human understanding. I want you to imagine yourself walking through a crowd marketplace. Everyone is shouting, bargaining, calling for attention. And there you are, moving through calmly, silently, intentionally. People bump into you, noise surrounds you, chaos swirls, yet you are unshaken. You feel a sense of clarity that no one else possesses, and slowly, subtly, everything begins to respond to your presence. Doors open without you knocking. People who mattered begin to gravitate toward you. Opportunities that seemed hidden suddenly become obvious. That is the power of silence. That is the reward of focusing on yourself. Every great leader, every visionary, every person who has ever made an impact understood this principle. They knew that words are powerful, but energy is more powerful. Focus is more powerful. Silence is more powerful. And it is this quiet, deliberate power that shapes destinies, shifts circumstances, and transforms lives. When you focus on yourself, you are not being selfish. You are being strategic. You are being wise. You are preparing yourself to receive the blessings that are waiting for you, the opportunities that are aligned with your purpose, the people who are aligned with your vision and the life that you were always meant to live. So today, I want you to see yourself differently. See yourself as someone whose energy is sacred, whose focus is intentional, whose silence is a signal of power and presence. Stop speaking to justify. Stop acting to prove. Stop giving your energy to what does not serve your growth. Instead, protect your space, nurture your dreams, and invest in yourself. Because when you do, life begins to respond in ways that will astonish you, elevate you, and transform you. You will realize that you never needed anyone's approval to succeed, that the right doors were always meant to open for you, and that the life you've been dreaming about has been waiting patiently for you to focus, stay silent, and claim it. Let me tell you something that is often overlooked in our rush to be seen and heard: the way you handle your energy, your focus, and your silence shapes not only your life, but the lives of those around you. I have seen it in my own life, and I have witnessed it in the lives of others. There was a season when I felt compelled to respond to every comment, clarify every misunderstanding, and defend every decision. I thought that being heard meant being powerful. I thought that explaining myself was the path to respect. And yet, after exhausting myself with words, I discovered something astonishing. The more I spoke, the less I accomplished. The more I defended, the smaller my impact became. One day, I decided to try something radical. I would stop justifying, stop explaining, stop reacting to every situation, and instead invest my energy where it truly mattered, into myself, my purpose, and my vision. The change was almost immediate. Opportunities began to emerge without me pushing. Relationships began to shift, not because I demanded it, but because I allowed life to rearrange itself around my focused energy. People began to respect me more, not because of my words, but because of the power in my presence, the strength in my silence, and the clarity in my purpose. Imagine standing in a room where everyone is talking, arguing, even competing for attention. Now imagine yourself standing there quietly, not participating in the chaos, but fully present, fully focused, fully at peace. Something remarkable happens in that moment. You are seen, not because you spoke the loudest, but because your energy is different. Your energy commands attention. Your presence radiates authority. Your silence speaks volumes. And this is not some abstract principle. It is a tangible force that changes outcomes, alters perceptions, and opens doors that words alone could never open. I remember one instance in my life when a major opportunity seemed out of reach. I had spent months explaining my vision to people who could have helped me, but who did not understand my path. I felt frustrated, unheard, and disheartened. Then I made the decision to stop pushing, to stop explaining, and to focus solely on my work, my preparation, and my faith. I began to nurture my talents, develop my skills, and invest my energy in growth rather than validation. Within weeks, the opportunity I had been chasing appeared in a way I could never have orchestrated. It came not because I begged for it, not because I shouted louder, but because I focused on myself and allowed life and God to align everything perfectly. Your life works in a very similar way. The less you try to control everything, the more room there is for the right things to happen. The less you seek approval from others, the more you gain confidence in yourself. The less you defend your path, the more clarity you receive about the direction you are meant to go. And the beautiful truth is this: when you focus inward and cultivate your own growth, you become a magnet for everything that is meant for you. People, opportunities, and blessings are naturally drawn to those who are intentional, disciplined, and self-focused. Think about your own life for a moment. How many hours have you spent arguing, explaining, or proving yourself to people who didn't even matter in your long-term story? How much energy have you given away to distractions, gossip, or criticism that had no bearing on your purpose? Now imagine reclaiming all of that energy, pouring it into your dreams, your personal growth, your spiritual alignment, and your vision. Imagine what your life could look like in 6 months, in a year, or even in just a few weeks. If you focused entirely on yourself and your calling, you would be unstoppable. your clarity would deepen, your confidence would rise, and the life you desire would begin to manifest in ways that are breathtaking and undeniable. I also want you to hear this. Focusing on yourself does not mean ignoring others. It does not mean abandoning responsibilities or relationships. It means prioritizing your energy, your growth, and your purpose above the unnecessary noise that clouds your mind and drains your spirit. It means setting boundaries. It means protecting your focus. It means recognizing that your life is too valuable to be dictated by the opinions, doubts, or criticisms of others. When you embrace this principle, you will notice something extraordinary. The right people will stay, the right opportunities will arrive, and life will begin to work in harmony with your vision in ways you never thought possible. And here is the secret that few understand: silence is not passive. Silence is strategic. Silence is powerful. It is a tool of discernment, a shield of protection, and a catalyst for transformation. When you remain silent, you are not weak. You are gathering strength. When you focus on yourself, you are not selfish. You are aligning with your highest purpose. And when you invest your energy intentionally, you are not isolated. You are positioning yourself to receive everything that life has in store for you. So, hear me clearly: your words alone do not determine your destiny. Your noise does not create your breakthrough. Your energy, your focus, and your intentionality do. When you embrace silence and put your attention where it truly matters, you will watch life shift, doors open, blessings arrive, and your purpose unfold in ways that are magnificent, undeniable, and divinely orchestrated. Now, let's talk about the transformation that happens when you truly commit to focusing on yourself and embracing silence. I want you to really picture this, because it is not just theory, it is a reality that you can step into starting today. I remember a season in my life when everything felt stagnant. I was working hard, trying to please everyone, explaining my choices, defending my decisions, and yet nothing seemed to move forward. I was exhausted, frustrated, and on the verge of giving up. Then I made a decision that changed everything. I stopped seeking validation. I stopped responding to distractions, and I focused entirely on myself, my growth, my vision, my purpose. And almost immediately, I began to notice shifts. Doors opened that had been firmly shut. Relationships improved, not because I begged for harmony, but because my presence began to radiate clarity and strength. Opportunities arrived in ways that words could never have created. Life began to transform around me simply because I chose to stay silent, focus on myself, and honor my energy. Think about how powerful this principle is. When you are silent and intentional, life begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Situations that once seemed impossible begin to find solutions. People who once doubted you begin to notice your growth. Opportunities you never thought possible come into view. And the most incredible thing is that all of this happens quietly, without struggle, without forcing, without shouting. It is as though the universe itself responds to your focus and intention, rewarding you for your discipline, your patience, and your commitment to yourself. I want you to visualize your life as a river. When you expend all your energy fighting currents, arguing with obstacles, and trying to control every ripple, your river becomes turbulent and chaotic. But when you focus inward, protect your energy, and allow life to flow naturally, the river smooths out. The current carries you forward effortlessly. You begin to glide past obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. You realize that life works best not when you force it, but when you focus, stay silent, and trust the process. That is the power of transformation. It is quiet, it is subtle, and yet it is unstoppable. I have also seen this principle at work in the lives of so many people I have coached and mentored. There are individuals who, for years, chased recognition, validation, and approval. They argued, explained, justified, and tried to control every situation. And yet, when they shifted their focus inward, embraced silence, and nurtured their own growth, everything changed. Suddenly, the very circumstances they had been struggling with began to shift. Relationships that were strained became harmonious. Opportunities they had only dreamed about manifested. Their confidence soared. Their clarity deepened. Their sense of purpose became undeniable. Let me give you a more vivid example. Imagine a professional who has been tirelessly trying to prove their worth to a boss, colleague, or client. Every day they argue their point, justify their decisions, and seek recognition. Exhausting, isn't it? Now, imagine that same professional deciding to stop the endless explanations and instead focus entirely on excellence, on improving skills, delivering quality, and cultivating mastery. Within weeks, the work speaks for itself. The recognition comes naturally. The respect is undeniable. The results arrive without begging, arguing, or defending. That is the transformation that comes from silence and focus. That is the power that shifts life. And this principle applies in every area of your life, not just work, your relationships, your health, your spiritual life, your personal growth. All of these flourish when you focus inward, protect your energy, and step back from unnecessary noise. People may question your silence at first. They may doubt your intentions. But the truth is, your growth is not for them to validate, it is for you to honor. The blessings, opportunities, and breakthroughs that await you are aligned with your purpose, and they respond to your focus and discipline, not your explanations. I want you to imagine walking into a room and holding yourself with quiet confidence, fully aware that your energy is protected, your focus is unwavering, and your vision is clear. People will notice not because you demand attention, but because your presence radiates power, clarity, and intention. Life begins to bend toward those who embrace their own focus, who protect their energy, and who refuse to give their power away to distractions, drama, or the need to be understood by everyone. That is the transformation I am talking about, the kind that changes your life from the inside out, quietly, powerfully, and irrevocably. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you are not just surviving, you are thriving. You are aligning with your purpose. You are stepping into the life that was always meant for you. And the beauty of this principle is that it doesn't require struggle. It doesn't require force, and it doesn't require anyone else's approval. All it requires is your willingness to protect your energy, invest in yourself, and trust that life responds to focus, discipline, and intentionality. Now, let's focus on the ultimate truth. Your life changes when you choose yourself, your focus, and your silence over everything else. I want you to feel this because it is a principle that can completely transform your reality. I remember a time when I was trying to please everyone, colleagues, friends, family, even strangers whose opinions I didn't need. I was stretched thin, exhausted, and constantly reacting to everything around me. And yet, the more I gave away my energy, the more depleted I became. It was then that I realized if I didn't focus on myself, if I didn't protect my energy, I would never fulfill the purpose I was called to. The first thing I did was decide to prioritize myself. I began saying no to things that drained me, no to conversations that demanded unnecessary explanations, no to situations that didn't align with my purpose. I focused on my growth, my vision, and my spiritual alignment. And then I noticed something incredible. My life began to shift. Opportunities appeared almost magically. People who had been indifferent or critical suddenly began to gravitate toward me. The doors that had once been locked were now opening with ease. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was the power of focus and intentional silence working together, creating space for life to respond to my alignment with purpose. Imagine a sculptor in the middle of a marble block. If the sculptor keeps trying to rush the process, carving too fast, speaking too loudly about the final image, the masterpiece may be ruined. But if the sculptor steps back, focuses on each deliberate cut, and allows the work to unfold intentionally, the statue begins to emerge in all its glory. That is exactly what happens when you focus on yourself and remain silent. Life begins to sculpt you into the person you were meant to become, revealing your true potential, your strength, and your destiny. I have seen this principle work in the lives of so many people I have mentored. Those who once felt overlooked, unappreciated, or stuck suddenly began to experience breakthroughs. They stopped chasing recognition. They stopped explaining themselves. They redirected their energy inward, investing in their personal growth, spiritual development, and purposeful action. And what happened? Life responded. Promotions arrived, relationships shifted, opportunities appeared where none existed before. Confidence deepened, clarity sharpened. Their energy became magnetic, and they began attracting everything aligned with their vision. That is the power that comes from focusing on yourself and staying silent. It is life altering. Let me tell you something else. When you focus on yourself, you also begin to protect your peace. The world is full of noise, people who demand your attention, situations that drain your energy, and opinions that do not serve your purpose. Every time you allow yourself to get pulled into these distractions, you lose a piece of your power. But when you consciously choose to focus on yourself, you create a protective shield around your energy. You become untouchable by negativity, unaffected by judgment, and unstoppable in your pursuit of purpose. Your energy becomes your weapon. Your silence becomes your strategy. Your focus becomes your superpower. And here's the truth. This is not just about personal gain. It is about alignment with destiny. Every moment you focus on yourself, every moment you protect your energy, every moment you choose silence over argument, you are aligning with the life you were created to live. God, the universe, life itself begins to conspire on your behalf. People who matter enter your life. Opportunities you didn't see come into your path. Doors open effortlessly. And the more you remain focused, the more these blessings multiply, creating a ripple effect that impacts every area of your life: spiritual, emotional, relational, and professional. So I want you to make a decision today. Decide that you will no longer give away your power. Decide that your energy is too precious to be spent on things that do not serve your purpose. Decide that your life matters enough to be protected, nurtured, and invested in intentionally. Focus on yourself. Embrace silence. Prioritize your growth. Protect your energy and watch what happens. Life will respond in ways that exceed your imagination, exceed your expectations, and fulfill the vision that has been placed in your heart from the very beginning. Remember, this is not passive. This is not waiting for life to happen. This is active alignment. This is intentional living. This is understanding that your energy, your focus, and your silence are your greatest tools for transformation. And when you wield them wisely, when you invest them in yourself, you will step into a life that is powerful, abundant, and aligned with your highest purpose. The shift is waiting for you. The moment is now. The power is within you. Now, I want you to really grasp the magnitude of what happens when you combine focus with silence. This is where transformation becomes undeniable. I have witnessed countless people, including myself, reach moments in life where the noise, the criticism, and the distractions were overwhelming. We felt pulled in every direction, drained by endless demands, and exhausted by the constant need to explain, justify, and prove ourselves. And yet, when we chose to step back, to protect our energy, and to place our focus intentionally on our growth, the world around us began to shift in ways that were truly miraculous. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a garden overrun by weeds. For years, you have tried to tend to it while simultaneously battling storms, pests, and the constant judgment of neighbors who don't understand your vision. You feel exhausted, questioning whether your efforts will ever bear fruit. But then you make a conscious decision. You will pull the weeds, nourish the soil, and water the plants that truly matter. You create space for growth. You invest in what is essential. And soon the garden begins to flourish. Flowers bloom vibrantly. Fruits ripen abundantly. Life, which seemed stagnant and chaotic, now thrives because of the deliberate, focused, and silent effort you have made. That is exactly what happens in your life when you focus on yourself and embrace silence. The weeds of distraction and negativity are removed, and your purpose begins to blossom in full color. I remember a time in my own journey when I was trying to handle too many things at once. I was speaking to everyone, trying to explain my vision, defending my choices, and worrying about the opinions of people who didn't understand my path. I felt overwhelmed, anxious, and unsure if I was making any progress at all. And then I had a revelation: if I continued to give away my energy in this way, I would never reach the heights I was called to reach. I made a choice. I would focus on myself, embrace silence, and allow life to respond to my alignment with purpose. The results were immediate. The opportunities I had been chasing arrived effortlessly. The relationships that had been stagnant began to flourish. My confidence, clarity, and spiritual alignment deepened beyond measure. And I realized that silence and focus are not just strategies, they are catalysts for life changing breakthroughs. Think about your own life. How many moments have been lost to unnecessary explanations, arguments, or attempts to control outcomes? How many hours have been wasted on people or situations that drain your energy? Now imagine reclaiming all of that energy, pouring it into your purpose, your growth, your spiritual development, and your vision. The possibilities are limitless. Doors you never thought possible will open. People who are aligned with your path will gravitate toward you. Opportunities will appear as if by divine orchestration, and you will step into a life of clarity, power, and unstoppable momentum. This principle works in every area of your life, your career, your relationships, your health, your spiritual growth, and your personal development. When you focus on yourself, protect your energy, and remain silent amidst chaos, you create a sacred space where transformation is inevitable. You are no longer subject to the opinions of others. You are no longer pulled into unnecessary conflict. You are no longer distracted by what does not serve your highest purpose. Instead, you are fully aligned with the life that was always intended for you. And here is the most beautiful part: the universe, God, life itself responds to this alignment. Blessings that you cannot see yet are already on their way. Opportunities that seemed out of reach are already preparing themselves for your arrival. People who are meant to be part of your journey are already moving toward you. When you choose silence, focus, and intentionality, you become a magnet for everything that aligns with your purpose. The law is simple: the more you protect your energy and focus on yourself, the more life responds with abundance, clarity, and breakthrough. So I want you to feel this truth deep within your soul. Your life is too valuable to be dictated by the noise of others. Your energy is too precious to be scattered on distractions. Your purpose is too significant to be compromised by unnecessary explanations. Focus on yourself, embrace silence, guard your energy, invest in your growth, align with your calling, and watch as life transforms around you in ways that are extraordinary, undeniable, and divinely orchestrated. Your breakthrough is waiting. Your purpose is calling. Your life is ready to shift. All it requires is your willingness to focus, to remain silent, and to trust the process. The power has always been within you. The moment to step into it is now. And when you do, you will see with your own eyes how life changes, how doors open, how blessings flow, and how your vision, your purpose, and your destiny finally align in ways you never thought possible.